This has to be one of the dumbest cancellation attempts I've ever seen, and that's saying something. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, your home for independent and nonpartisan commentary and analysis on politics, media, internet culture, and more. And this video is going to be about that last one there, some internet insanity coming from the bastion of normalcy and well-adjusted adults known as Blue Sky. And yeah, so actually the opposite. I don't know, some of you guys might not know what Blue Sky is, but it's like a left-wing Twitter clone that only the most crazy and delusional progressives really use or go on at all. And an interesting saga is playing out there that was brought to my attention by the journalist Jesse Singal in a pretty popular tweet. He wrote, "Bad news from Blue Sky. Jeopardy host Ken Jennings is now transphobic." And this was very interesting to me. I was like, oh no. What did this new Jeopardy guy do? Did he misuse a pronoun? Did he, I don't know, watch Harry Potter or another one of these like egregious offenses? It's actually even dumber and weirder than that. The whole controversy, and I'm honestly, that word shouldn't even be used in this context because it's laughable beyond belief. The whole controversy here is that he played the New York Times like word games or spelling bee games and posted about it on Blue Sky. And that's apparently like betraying trans people or something. Anyway, he wrote on a post, "My wife and I have a game where we try to invent the day's grossest sounding word on New York Times spelling bee." Then he posts their screenshots of their game. He got attacked for this because apparently the New York Times is transphobic because they've aired or published a few columns pushing back on some extreme trans stuff and some reporting that covers both sides of the argument and questions some of the dogma from the trans activist community or questions some of the science behind youth gender medicine and these other hot button topics. So apparently trans people on Blue Sky attacked the host of Jeopardy for giving the New York Times money, I guess. Like, you're not allowed to subscribe to the biggest newspaper in America, even to play word games, because trans people or something. Anyway, here's one tweet, quote tweeting this saying, "I wish people who cared about trans people could understand that playing New York Times games is still an insult to trans people." Is it? Is it? Is the insult in the room with us? Because I'm not seeing an insult. I mean, what a ludicrous suggestion, first of all, that playing word games on a newspaper's app or service is therefore an endorsement of everything they've published ever. That's obviously not the case. Or you could never play any word game of any newspaper, right? It's like, oh, I do the crossword puzzle of the Wall Street Journal, so I must agree with every editorial they've ever written. Said no sane person ever. And then what's funny is that the New York Times isn't even transphobic. This narrative, it's liberal. They've just questioned some of the stuff and pushed back on some of the craziest stuff. And that's enough to get them declared persona non grata by these crazy activists. That's itself deranged, but not surprising. We've been new. They used to protest the New York Times because they had a reporter there who was doing honest and nuanced coverage of youth gender medicine. Activists parked a truck outside the New York Times' office protesting them because of that. Like, these people are deranged. But even this is a level of stretching that I wasn't prepared for. I wasn't expecting them to actually claim that playing word games is somehow harmful or offensive because of the leaps of logic you have to get to what? That the same newspaper also publishes articles that hurt your feelings. Like, get over it. What is wrong with you people? You belong in a padded room if you're that sensitive. And that has nothing to do with you being trans. It has to do with you being entitled and fragile beyond parody, really. Anyway, here's where things get crazy, actually. This Jeopardy host must be, a delusional woke person himself, because he responded to these accusations and to this pushback, not by dismissing them as the crazy Looney Tunes that they clearly are, not by mocking them, which would also be appropriate, not by just ignoring them, that would also be fine and actually a good choice in a lot of those situations, but by trying to argue that he was allowed to play the New York Times games because he'd gotten permission from a trans person. What in the woke white savior complex do we have here, guys? Look at his responses. He wrote to the person calling him transphobic for playing the games. He wrote, "This may be true of others, but I actually got express permission from the trans community to keep New York Times games and recipes. I also have a news subscription, which is arguably worse, so I had to specifically send in a written request. Took 30 days, but I got approved." They were like, trans people are not a monolith, and like-minded allies may disagree on specific media boycotts and stuff like that. It was a huge load off my mind. I can't tell if he's mocking them or not. Really, it's 50-50 to me, whether he's actually that cringy and he was asking trans friends for permission to still play the New York Times word puzzles, or, and I hope this is the case, that he is mocking these people and he's like actually just doing a satirical bit, like, "Oh no, you don't understand. I asked the trans actor, I got special," and he's like making fun of them. That could be the only way that this dude is not cooked beyond belief, mentally, spiritually. But it didn't go over well. So, for example, he said, "Is this someone?" That same person replied, "Is this really how you want to talk to a trans person about trans people?" Someone else said, "F you, dude. Take Ken for a smart guy. This is decidedly not smart. Ken, WTF. Bad effing look, my guy." And someone else pushed back on him and said, "And for the record, Ken Jennings, if such a written permission existed, it would be a situation like the N-word pass, where it's extended to see if you're smart enough not to use it." Oops. Oh my God. They're actually comparing playing New York Times word puzzles to saying the N-word. We're so cooked. A significant portion of our society's brains have just been fried beyond repair by the internet. And there's no amount of anything that can fix it. I'm concerned that that's the case. But actually, at this point, I've come around to thinking that he probably was mocking them. I'm pretty sure that he was mocking them, and that we actually support him now. Anyway, someone else said to him over this whole controversy, "Ken Jennings, I hope your dick rots off." That's a super normal thing to write to somebody because they play New York Times word games. Definitely a stable person there. Another person wrote, "Ken Jennings is just another chud by dint of his own behavior. Well done, Ken. Go sit at the American fascists table. You've earned it, pal." What? I don't understand what that means. They're saying he's like far right or fascist because of this. You understand that at a certain point, those words lose all meaning and all significance. And we're now at that point because of y'all. Really, the funny thing is that I am fairly confident that Ken Jennings is a liberal guy, probably supports trans rights, but they want to micro-police and harass people on their own side to the nth degree in a way that's genuinely repulsive. Not in the sense in which that word is typically used, where it's like, "Oh, she's nasty." Repulsive in the sense that it repels you away from the thing. And it's like if there was a recipe to have fewer supporters, to have fewer people agree with you, it is this exact kind of annoying, nitpicking activism. But they just do it more and more and more. And I think part of the problem is the echo chambers, right? You go on Blue Sky and there's barely anyone on there, but all the other people that are on there are like cringe people who've also self-exiled themselves to the progressive bubble. And then you bounce off of each other and there's no normal people in the chat to be like, "Hey guys, this is insane." This is one of the problems with silos and echo chambers. It's what you see on Twitter with the right wing, where a lot of people left Twitter and a lot of people who are very right wing now dominate the platform, and they bounce off each other and they say, and they get crazier and crazier and say edgier and edgier stuff that then when you take it out of that context and show it to a normal person, they're like, "What?" Because most people still don't use Twitter, but they don't realize that it's crazy or that they've gone too far because they're just bouncing off similar ideas. That's the same thing that happens on Blue Sky. It's two birds of a similar kind. Anyway, I think you guys get the idea here that this is actually apparently something that people are up in arms about. And I come back to this theory that I have. And my theory is that some of these people just feel helpless. They really feel like there's nothing they can do to affect the way that things are going in the world, which is true, but that maybe they can exercise some small amount of petty power within the niche micro community or online space that they're in. And if harassing someone or bullying someone else is the way they choose to exercise that, then so be it. Because then suddenly, like, oh, I can make change, or I'm doing activism, or I'm setting the record straight over here. And it's like, meanwhile, you're not making any difference at all, except for negatively affecting someone else. But like, this does nothing to advance trans people's acceptance or trans rights. In fact, the only effect it has, if anything, is negative, because it once again makes y'all look crazy. So I just would implore these people to log off. Honestly, apps like Blue Sky really don't serve a purpose and really shouldn't exist. It's an insane asylum of a social media app at this point. But I found this story kind of hilarious, yet also depressing at the same time. Though then again, I feel like that describes almost every story we cover on this channel. Other than that, guys, though, we're doing amazing. Let me know what you think in the chat. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, become a channel member to support me if you can. And we'll be back with more real soon.